but
Steve Kornack, I just have to jump in. And you've been predicting this. We've been waiting for it. And we do have some breaking news from the decision desk. NBC News can now project that Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin, which means he is the winner of this race and will return to the White House as this country's 47th.
Though votes are still being counted on the West Coast, Donald Trump has accumulated over 270 electoral votes, winning all of the swing states in this election, making him the 57th president of the United States of America. But how was he able to win so decisively?
So the condition of the U.S. economy, and remember, these are people who actually voted. I think it's really important to make that distinction again. We've been asking people in opinion polls for 2 years now about how they feel. These are people who actually voted. So this is the clearest view of how people are feeling in the voting booth or when they're filling out their mail-in ballot. So not so good to poor. Look at that number, 67% there. That's a big number. That's the biggest number we've seen in terms of poor and not so good in the last 3 or 4 cycles here.
And Joe Biden's approval rating, folks, we've got so far in the exit poll, a couple different categories here, but strongly and somewhat approve. That's a 40%. I don't know if you can read that. It's a little light, but that's a 40% approval rating that Joe Biden has right now. Again, that's kind of consistent with what we've seen in polling all along. Low 40s. It's what scared Democrats about having him continue as the candidate when he got out of the race. Disapproved 45 and 14, nearly 60%. Again,
in hindsight, it seems pretty obvious why Donald Trump won this election. Kamala Harris had only about 100 days to run this campaign for this election. She wasn't tested in a Democratic primary and wasn't as battle tested on the national stage with the national electorate as her counterpart Donald Trump has been, being experienced running presidential campaigns as he ran in 2016 and 2020. She also was linked to an administration that was pretty unpopular with the mass public. She was linked to Biden, whose policies were viewed disfavorably by the large majority of the public. She was part of an administration that brought economic turmoil to a lot of people and had pretty unfavorable policies in regards to immigration and different social issues. And what the public really wanted was a candidate that represented change from the current administration. The Kamala Harris campaign unfortunately failed on presenting Kamala Harris as a candidate for change. Another issue with the campaign was that they didn't really focus or highlight Kamala Harris's plans for voters' number one issue, which is the economy. Whereas, in my personal opinion, the Kamala Harris campaign focused more on democracy and issues that are more theoretical and are difficult for voters to really grasp, and thus are difficult to sway undecided voters and voters that are on the edge. Whereas, if they were to focus on Kamala Harris's economic policies, which are in fact good policies, that are beneficial for the working class, she would have had better results and voters would have trusted her on that issue. But ultimately, because of Kamala Harris's campaign shortcomings, they weren't able to present Kamala Harris as a candidate for change and who could bring economic success and prosperity to the Americans. And consequently, because of these shortcomings, Donald Trump has indeed won the presidential election.
Everything Kamala says is a lie. She has no vision, no idea. She has no solutions for anything. In fact, all she can talk about, this was the other night, they'd ask her a question, say, Donald Trump did this, Donald Trump did that. All she can say is, Donald Trump.
Trump may have won the Electoral College for a variety of reasons, but the extent of Trump's victory is what's truly surprising. Trump becomes the first Republican nominee since 2004 to win the popular vote, and this may suggest a larger change in the political climate.
Why are Democrats losing support from their base? Well, it's because Democrats aren't supporting their base. Democrats have always been a party that has championed a variety of progressive policies in various sectors, like healthcare, like education, like infrastructure. But really, they make a bunch of promises, especially in recent times. They make a bunch of promises to achieve progressive policy objectives, but they haven't been delivering on those promises. Take New York, for example, New York City, a Democratic stronghold. They have experienced a lot of turmoil because of the high taxes, the migrant crisis, and the costly infrastructure. All of those issues intertwined, and all of those issues are a result of poor leadership, poor democratic leadership. And these are issues that aren't particular to New York City. These are issues that have been experienced by a variety of cities, a variety of metropolitan cities around the world that have endured hardship in this past 4 years, this past decade, due to Democratic leadership and the shortcomings. And now Democrats are just going to have to reckon with the fact that it's because of their shortcomings that Trump was elected, and it's because of their poor leadership that Trump was elected. And if Democrats want to change the course of Trump's presidency and want to regain control of the Senate, which already has a Republican majority, or the House, which is not called for the Republicans, and the voting is still being counted for numerous seats on the West Coast, but is looking like Republicans are going to have the majority based on the election results and how voting has been going so far. If Democrats want to regain control of Congress and provide a check to Donald Trump, they're going to need to have better leadership in these cities, in these suburbs, and have actionable policies that really impact the flows, rather than touting progressive policies and progressive agendas without really making substantial impact in people's lives. And now, what is a Donald Trump presidency going to look like?
And this is really all you need to know. Kamala broke it, and I'll fix it, and we'll do it very quickly.
The Trump that's going into office in 2024 is very different from the Trump that was in office in 2016. The Trump from 2016 was an inexperienced businessman who had no real experience in politics, who was trying to hold his first elected position ever. The Trump in 2024 is an experienced political savant who has been in the limelight of the national media for the past 8 years. So while the Trump in 2016 had a difficult time trying to find members for his cabinet and didn't really know what to do and was thus unable to fulfill many of his campaign promises, the Trump of 2024 will be experienced, knows what it's like to be president, and will be able to sort out his campaign promises if he wants to, especially considering the fact that the Republicans will hold, or is likely to hold, a majority in both chambers of Congress.
I said, I'm going to be a dictator for one day.
As for his policy, if his rhetoric is to believe, I fear that America might be on a trajectory that strays from its national identity. America is a nation that's built on immigrants and immigrant labor and innovation. And Donald Trump is, again, his rhetoric is to be believed, is going to be facilitating mass deportation of illegal immigrants all across America on his first day in office. And what that essentially means is that millions of immigrants who've been living here for an extended period of time, who have become an integral part of many communities in America, are going to be ripped away from those communities and sent back to their homeland due to their illegal status. Moreover, aside from that issue, foreign policy, which is another contentious topic, is at risk of straying from American ideals. America, which is built on multilateralism, helping out those democracies that are in need, helping Europe out against communism and threats posed by Russia and China. If we take Donald Trump's rhetoric seriously, he is going to be ending the war in Ukraine immediately in his first day in office, as he likes to say. It will be easy. He's also going to be ending the Israel-Gaza war easily as well. And what I fear by what it means that there's going to be an easy solution to these conflicts, multiple layers with years of tension and years of history. When he says that there's going to be an easy solution to these conflicts, it's usually going to result in the underdog in the scenario, whether that's Ukraine or Palestine, going to be suffering significant losses for Ukraine. That's in territory and manpower, and that too applies to Palestine. I fear that there's going to be mass travesties and mass loss of life and a loss in the institution of democracy worldwide because of President Trump foreign policy decisions. And because of Trump's isolationism, America is going to lose many of its allies in the European Union, in South America. They're going to lose allies who have come to trust America in supporting them in times of need. But with Trump at the head of the nation, at the head of a nation that is a trailblazer and a leader for the world and of the free world, I fear that they're going to lose that trust in America to support them in time. They're going to resort to other global superpowers like Russia and like China. And aside from foreign policy, there are other issues at hand, like the abortion, like the economy. For the economy, Trump has positive and has recommended tariffs, something that he had done in his 2016 administration. He's imposed tariffs on China and on various other goods from other countries. He is advocating for and is promising to increase that tariff to ungodly and insurmountable amount of obscene amount, to around, I think, 15% tariff on all nations and on all products, and for China somewhere in the 50s, 60s percentages for products coming from China. Ultimately, the point of tariffs is to build more stuff in America and to bring manufacturing jobs back to America. But as many economists have suggested and have proven, many well-known and respected economists, that tariffs are ultimately going to result in higher inflation for consumers and for the American populace. And when inflation is already such a massive issue, adding more tariffs and higher tariffs on other countries, increasing the cost of living in the United States, it's just going to add to that economic turmoil that many Americans are feeling. And as for abortion, Trump takes credit for removing for the appeal of Roe versus Wade. He is taking credit for removing access to abortion, and ultimately that's going to lead into his national rhetoric and his opinion on abortion. I fear that with Trump as the president, as the leader of America, he is going to attempt, at the very least, to impose a national abortion ban. Yeah, and there are numerous different policy proposals that have been touted by the Republican Party and from think tanks that are closely affiliated with Trump's administration and Trump himself, like Project 2025 and like the Heritage Foundation, and the stuff that is detailed in those plans and represented by the Heritage Foundation. It's stuff that's going to be tearing down democracy instead of building it up, and it's going to be taking us backwards rather than towards the future and towards a better America. And I want to leave you with one central message. It's to have hope, to be hopeful that our nation can continue to progress and to hope for the best, and to continue to stay politically active. I know this might be a time of despair for some of you. It might be a time of joy for some of you. But for those who are feeling despair and are feeling loss and losing hope in America and America's institution and politics, it's important, it's imperative that you stay in tune with politics, stay politically active, stay civically engaged, because that is the only way to hold institutions and people accountable. We need the media to be on their game. We need the people to be on their game. And we need the judicial branch and the checks and balances to actually be enforced and to be applied when necessary. Yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please comment below, like, subscribe, and in the comments, please give me suggestions. If you have anything that you want me to cover in particular, I would love to know. And yeah, have a great rest of your day, and thank you for watching.